friends, welcome to the Plaid X2 channel. My name is John. On this channel we talk all things physical media, so movies, music, and books, and that kind of thing. Go ahead and subscribe down below for more of that kind of content. Well friends, thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this conversation, and this is a special one. So if you've watched this channel for any time, you know I'm not really into horror films. It's not really my thing. I've watched a few here and there, but it's not really my genre that I am generally watching. So I invited my good friend Stephanie from the channel, the Movie Chatter channel, to have a conversation with me to do a Horror 101 video. So friends, if you are a horror connoisseur, you've been into horror forever, you've watched everything, this probably isn't the video for you. If you want to watch it, that's fantastic. This is for those who are like me, who haven't seen much horror and are curious about maybe where to get started in horror. What maybe is too scary, or what's like okay or middle of the ground. Anyway, so that's what this video is for the newbies, for people who are brand new at horror and are looking to potentially see a little more in the genre. So I invited my good friend Stephanie, as I mentioned, to have a conversation with me where I just threw out a bunch of questions to her, and then one kind of fun one where I just threw out 13 films and said, how scary are these films? Rank them 1 to 5 and how scary they might be for somebody like me who's brand new to horror. So anyway, friends, I'm so thankful for Stephanie. If you've never checked out her channel, which let's be honest, you have. If you're here, you've checked out her channel. But it's Movie Chatter. The link will be below. Her channel is amazing. Stephanie is such a cool person, such a great friend, and she has such a wealth of knowledge on film and is just super fun to talk to. So I was just really glad to get a chance to chat for quite some time about film, and this is the recorded section of that conversation where we talked about horror. So friends, if you're brand new to horror, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope this is educational for you. It was educational for me. So Stephanie, thank you so much for doing this. Friends, if you're watching this, this is Horror 101 with my friend Stephanie from the Movie Chatter channel. Well, thanks for doing this with me, Stephanie. Your idea a while back about us doing something on horror, because I'm not into it. Anyway, so that's kind of where this came from. I thought you're the perfect person to talk to for doing like a 101 on horror. And so I had some questions that I sent you, and I thought it would be fun and funny to do this. I will not promise to watch any of these, but for others who are like me, who may be more nervous about horror, this is good, and I probably will watch a couple of these. My guess is I will.
I tried to pick ones that I thought you would watch.
Well, then I'll be more optimistic.
Yeah, and I tried to find things that are not going to traumatize you out of the gate. But you do have a horror base because you've watched, Universal Monsters, Quiet Place. You've watched Jaws. You've watched Halloween. So you do have that base. So we're off the dock, and now we're learning to swim. We have our swimmies on.
Would the Purge movies be considered horror? I've seen a bunch of those.
You know what? I consider them horror because that is something I can really see happening.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think they're horror. Some people, there are different levels of horror fans and what people, there's always that discussion. Is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Is it thriller? Is it horror? I think it's a personal decision.
All right.
I think they're horror. The masks and, it's a little scary. It's violent.
Well, that first one, it intrigued me because that idea is insane. And you're right. This could happen for sure.
Absolutely.
And eventually they start getting sillier. But that first one especially, I was like, that's crazy. But
the new one was good. The Forever Purge.
Was it with a horse on the cover? All right.
I like it. Yeah.
All right.
It's good. It's kind of back to where it was.
All right. Maybe I'll check that one out.
Back to basics. All right. It's pretty good.
All right.
I think you'll like it.
All right. So the first question I have for you is, what horror film hooked you? Because you're a huge horror fan.
Yes, I am.
And so I'm curious about, what was the one that you got it and you're like, oh, this is good. There's going to be more of this.
Before I get into anything, I just want to preface it with, for all the diehard horror fans out there, this truly is our Horror 101. This is our first, I'm not going real deep here. So, bear with us because we're gonna run with it eventually. This
is an episode for people like me, not for the horror.
And I did it with you in mind. I did it with what would I recommend for John?
For John and people like
like John, right? So the first I have two answers to your question. First was, this is a movie called Silent Scream. It's the first movie I ever saw, horror movie I ever saw in theaters with my friends. It's from 1980. It's not a scary movie. It felt scary at the time. Uh, some students decide to sublet a house near a beach, and people start disappearing.
All right.
But this was the first movie we saw in the theaters, horror, without parents. And I enjoyed it. I was afraid, but I was like, wow, that was really good. But the one that really got me, the original Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
And to this day, this is one of my go-to films. The first, the second, and the third are my favorite installments of this franchise.
So all right. So I really am basic 101.
Okay.
This is Jason, right?
This is Jason.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
And, Camp Crystal Lake and all that. And actually, the first one was filmed in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
And they actually have, the tours are expensive, but you can go tour Camp Crystal Lake.
Really?
With the lake and the cabins but it's expensive. I think it's like $200 a person.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can take some sand off the lake. I'm like, you know what? I'll just take some sand off the beach and tell people I got it at the lake. But no, seriously, they filmed the first one in New Jersey, and then I believe they moved them out to California.
Okay.
But this is just a fun franchise, and it got me into the whole like woodsy camper slasher thing, and I just love it. I can't get enough of it. Friday the 13th. I believe out of all the big franchises or bigger franchises, I think this one has the most consistent installments. Even the bad ones are watchable, where some of the Friday, Halloween ones, some of them are just so bad. And there's no timeline. It doesn't make sense. And, with this one, I feel like even the bad ones are watchable. So
okay. Friday
the 13th gets my vote. And this is the one that it hooked me into horror, because I'm always on the fence with Jaws. Like, I guess it's horror, but it doesn't really scare me. It just scares me from swimming.
Well, I see that one pop up on so many lists for horror, and I watch that, and I would never consider it horror, but
yeah, it's horrifying.
Yes, for sure.
And it's thriller, but I don't know. But a lot of people do consider it. I think it's categorized as horror on like IMDb.
I think so.
So I mean, I go with it. Like even Aliens, like I think it's sci-fi horror, but that's where we can get into those subgenres that I talked about. We're gonna go there
for the multiple episodes.
Yes, for the multiple episodes that this is going to be the new TV show.
Our program that's on Wednesday.
Our program that's on. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what horror films do you revisit the most?
Okay. Well, obviously Friday the 13th.
Right.
I would have to say the original Halloween.
Just saw it.
I did enjoy it. Yeah, I could watch this any day, anytime with no problem.
Even though I'm not a horror person, I can see how that would be almost a comfort film because of the fall feel, especially if you grew up with it. Like I could see that being comfort film.
And I always loved trick or treating. I loved that the season was changing, the leaves, the pumpkins, the crisp air. Like it kind of brings me back to my childhood without the slasher. Trick or treat was always a fun night for us, so
sure.
It was good. But I put Jaws on here just for the sake of everybody considers it a horror movie, and I watch it all the time. The Exorcist.
Really?
Can't get enough of it. Scares the life out of me, but I can't get enough of it.
That's what I know. Well, I know you told me that you find it like there's two films that you find genuinely scary.
Yep.
And so the fact that you keep coming back to it is wild.
It's also sick, but yeah, it is. Another one, I only have a couple more. Another one is anything in the Scream franchise. I feel like this was a game changer for the horror genre when it needed it. It is fun. It's funny. It's hip. I mean, it really played to that younger crowd when we needed it. We needed a refresh, and Scream was that refresh.
I have seen probably the first two or three of those. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought the first time I saw Ghostface, this guy, I just thought that was such a great mask. Like you hadn't seen anything like that before. And I saw it in theaters, and it just had it just had the right amount of everything. And there's a lot of throwbacks to, like Halloween and horror tropes, and they just nailed it. I think the first Scream is the best, but I watch them all. And then, of course, my Rob Zombie films, my House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell. And then I got the new lovely Three from Hell Steelbook with the skulls. So yeah, I'm a very, I always tell everyone I am an unapologetic Rob Zombie fan, because that is a fight waiting to happen with some people. Not me, but some people get really upset about that.
Is it because he came out of music and went into it, or just the actual content of his films?
Yeah, I think his content is either you love it or you hate it. He categorizes his style of horror as hillbilly horror. And it really is. It's like you have this like redneck family living in this dilapidated house doing horrible things. And that's the tone he sets. Okay. And I think a lot of people also were turned off. They did not like his remakes of Halloween 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
So I think that created some divisiveness. But I mean, are they my favorite, the Halloween? No, but his original stuff I love.
Okay.
He's a conversation starter, for lack of better terms, and he's doing the Munsters now.
I saw a still from it with the costumes on.
Yeah,
because I love the Munsters. So
I love the Munsters too, and I'm a little nervous about it. So as much as I love Rob, I'm a little nervous.
Now, is he going to make this like an R-rated Munsters?
I don't know. There's not a lot of information.
Okay.
I was actually I kind of knew it was going to happen, that he would have, and I love Sherry Moon Zombie for reasons we're not going to get into, but I love Sherry Moon Zombie, but I don't want her to be Lily.
Okay.
I would see her more as a Marilyn, but of course, Marilyn's a smaller part.
Sure.
So he's going to make his wife Lily.
Okay.
And she doesn't look bad as Lily. It's just I see her more as a Marilyn.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't have picked her for Lily. I don't know who I would have picked. She wasn't my first choice, but I love her. I think she's great.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing what he does with it, because I do love the show.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he is a huge Munsters fan by his own admission. So okay. I am hopeful that he will stay true to the tone of the show.
Well, I loved it that you and probably 2 or 3 more people commented on a video that I put when I mentioned the Munsters, that it has to be in black and white. And
absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Because anything, even the Munsters in color doesn't work.
No.
I don't want to see Green Herman.
No, it looks so cheesy.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want black and white.
So the next question I have for you are, what are 3 great entry-level horror films?
Okay, what did I pick for you? I was nice and I brought 5, but we'll go quick. This first one is a great vampire film, and it is in Swedish with English subtitles, and it is Let the Right One In. It's a really good vampire film, and it's just creepy enough, but not too creepy. There is an American remake called Let Me In, which isn't bad, but it doesn't hold a candle to this one.
Okay.
And these are children. It's a young girl who's a vampire. So really, I can't recommend this enough. And sticking with a vampire film, because I couldn't pick between the two, this one stars Saoirse Ronan, of all people, Byzantium. And this is a mother-daughter vampire film. And this is really cool. I think you'll enjoy this. Byzantium. And this is one that I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but the people who do talk about it really like it.
Okay.
So it's a really cool vampire film, and it has all sorts of accolades on the back, if you can see that.
Interesting. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's, like I said, not a lot of people talk about it, but really, really good stuff. And I love vampire stories, so I couldn't pick between those two. And now here's one that, like we spoke about before we started, about that horror can be in the mind. You don't necessarily have to see gore and blood and guts and whatnot. And this is another one, I've considered it underrated, but I think it's catching on and more people are talking about it. It stars Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey in Frailty.
Okay.
Have you heard of this one?
Tony on just recently recommended it to me and said it was a great, great film.
It's great. It's great. And just stay with it. It's a great story. It's just great. So, so good. And for the longest time, I never heard anyone talking about this. This is from 2002. And I would say over the past maybe year or so, it kind of got loose on Instagram and a lot of people are talking about it. And I guess people are discovering it now, but really, really good stuff. And it's one of those horror films. It walks the line between thriller and horror.
Okay.
Because you don't see a lot of what they talk about, but it's there.
Okay.
One that I don't know how you'll feel about, but I love this entire franchise. This is maybe a little step up because this is a little spookier, but The Conjuring, the first one, this is good stuff. This is the creeped out house, and watch it during the day. And don't start with Annabelle.
The ones where, even if I just watch the trailer or the commercial where there's like a lot of twitching movements or they're like fold backwards, is it like one of those kind of ones?
There's maybe one scene where somebody's like smushed up to fit somewhere, but mostly it's just creepy and things like pictures flying off the walls and where is it coming from? That type of thing.
So is this like a spiritual, like demons?
Yeah, they're demon hunters and they want to see if there's bad spirits in a house. And so people call them out and they find like Annabelle was a relic that they found at one of their places, and then they take them so they can't cause any more harm and they lock them up and they have a priest bless the room. So if you're gonna watch the Annabelle, you got Annabelle, right? Someone sent you Annabelle?
No.
That wasn't you?
Carrie. I just got sent Carrie.
Oh, Carrie. Okay, yeah, you can watch Carrie. I thought someone, for some reason, I thought someone just sent you Annabelle, and I was going to say, don't start with Annabelle because that's part of this.
Oh, okay.
Start with The Conjuring, go to Conjuring 2. Just watch them in order.
Okay.
They're not terribly scary. Kelly even watched these, and Kelly likes them.
Really? Okay.
We watched this during the day the first time, but now she's like, it doesn't matter if it's midnight, put it on.
Okay.
It's really good. And the first one's my favorite by far.
All right.
And I actually like the one that just came out, The Conjuring 3, Devil Made Me Do It, but not everybody does. Okay, and I just have two more. This next one, see, Ebert and Roper, 2 thumbs up. How long has it been since you saw that? John Cusack, Ray Liotta, and Amanda Peet in Identity. This is a great movie. It is, I would say, a psychological thriller more than horror, but it has horror elements in it. And on IMDb, I believe it's categorized as horror. I keep it in with my horror collection. They're all at a hotel and you're trying to figure out why they're all there and how they all ended up there.
Okay.
Like there's certain things about them that they have in common. And you're trying to piece it together, like why these people, why this hotel, and like why this group of people in this hotel on this night. Okay. And it is fantastic. The first time I saw it, I was like, "You got to be kidding! What just happened?" Really? So good. And again, it's more psychological than you're not going to see gore effects and all that. It's a psychological one, but I think you'll really enjoy that one. All right. And my last one, if you really want to take a walk on the wild side, is The Ring, the American version of The Ring.
I don't know if I might have seen it.
She's the lenticular. This is
she comes out of television.
It's a videotape. Okay. And if you watch the videotape in 7 days, supposedly you die, and she's on the videotape, this kid. Right. Actually, this is a very hard to score lenticular cover, and it was great because I want to say about a month ago or so, Marie grabbed it for Joe. She found it.
No way.
And it was a big moment. It was so cool. I was like, that is awesome. Marie's a keeper. And so Marie found it with the lenticular because it's so sought after and it's so out of print with the lenticular cover. Okay. But this is a lot of fun. And the first one is the one I like. So I if you want to take a little, move it along a little, I think you would enjoy that. There's also a Japanese version. It's called The Ringu. Okay.
And you prefer the American version?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, but they're both pretty good.
Yeah, they're both pretty good.
All right.
Yep. Yep. I go back and forth because sometimes I'm in the mood for the Japanese version, because we can do a whole thing on J-horror, they call it.
Okay.
We can go crazy with that. There's so many good ones.
I find amazing is there are so many subgenres. Listening to your channel, Joe, obviously, and listening to Jay, and them talk about the different genres, it's crazy to me.
Yep.
Yeah. And then someone mentioned the other day, which I thought was actually a really cool shout out to people like yourself who are huge horror fans. Someone said that physical media is probably still alive and kicking today because of the horror fans, because of how much they purchase.
Yep. And every time you put out a new cover or a new special edition or a new this, or we're going to buy it just because.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, next question for you is 3 great horror comedies.
Okay. I think you'll enjoy these. These are fun.
Ones that I maybe have seen more of than other subgenres of horror, but
now this one, I don't know how scary anyone would call it, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's What We Do in the Shadows.
No, never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Or heard of it?
No, this is great. So. It's kind of like The Real World. Remember The Real World on MTV?
Yeah.
But with vampires living in a house. It is so funny. You will really enjoy this. This is not scary. It is a lot of fun.
All right.
I'm surprised. I would have thought this was, out of all of them, I would think this would have been the one that you would have seen, because pretty much this and Shaun of the Dead, pretty much everybody's seen.
I have seen Shaun of the Dead, yes.
Okay. So I picked this one. But yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, that's a must watch for you. That's your homework. That's
my homework. I didn't realize when I scheduled the video with you, I'd get homework. But
I know, now there's homework involved. Taika Waititi is involved in this.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, well, so you're going to love that. You're going to love it. Everyone does. And then I pulled out one another one I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and it stars Ryan Reynolds, and it is called The Voices.
I've never heard of that.
This really surprised me. It says on the back, loopy, ghastly, funny, morbid, and unforgettable. All right. And he works for a plumbing company, and he may or may not have issues with hacking people up. Okay. And he talks to his dog and his cat. And they actually have conversations back and forth, and it's very funny. It's a dark comedy and like a slasher. Okay. But it's a lot of fun. Very different role for him.
I'll tell you what role I loved him in. Obviously, I think he's hilarious in Deadpool and all that stuff, but Buried.
Yes.
I thought he was unbelievable. And that movie,
I
was like, he's in a box the whole thing. That can't be that good of a movie. And I was gripped the entire time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it whenever he's not playing the Van Wilder Deadpool character.
Yeah.
That's where I think he shines. And that is that's kind of what this is. Gotcha. And Buried, like you said.
Yeah. Buried is great. Those other, he is that other guy in most of his other stuff, but that probably pays the bills. So.
Absolutely. And, he has comedic timing. It's comedy gold.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
But he's always the same character. So
I've never heard of that film.
To see him play something, when is this from? 2014. But I think you'll really enjoy it. It's fun.
Okay.
This is a new one. This just came out this year, and some people love it, some people hate it. I loved it. Psycho Gorman.
A bunch of people have told me about this film.
Yeah, so good. And if you can get past how annoying the little girl is, she is supposed to be annoying. She is supposed to drive you crazy because she's driving him crazy.
Okay.
She has a gem that makes her able to control the monster and make him do whatever she wants rather than what he wants.
Oh, really?
And she's mean. She's so spiteful and mean. She's funny. But I think this is just a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Psycho Gorman.
Yep. And then I just have 2 more. I had to put the last one in because it would be like a horror faux pas if I didn't. This is a Japanese film. One Cut of the Dead. And it's in Japanese with English subtitles. The first 37 minutes are horrible, but it's supposed to be.
Okay.
It is so bad. You're thinking to yourself, what am I watching? What have I gotten into? And after the first 37 minutes, it flips a switch, and just think the rest of the movie is as if the crew from The Office, the show The Office, made a zombie movie.
Oh, really?
It is so much fun. Yeah, this is a blast.
And so that first 37 minutes, that's intentional. That's a setup?
It's intentional. That is the movie they made. And then what they do is they flip it, and it goes to behind the scenes of how they got and to make that movie. And it shows you like behind the scenes filmmaking and all the mistakes. It's hilarious.
Okay.
It is hilarious. It is a lot of fun. Because it took me 2 times to get through, because I'm like, what is this? And everybody was raving about it.
Okay.
And I thought it was horrible. And then I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be horrible. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And this last one is just a plain old backwoods slasher comedy, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I have seen that one.
So you know why it's in here then.
Yes.
It's a must see for if I didn't put it in, the horror fans would be very, very upset. So yeah, so those are my picks for horror comedies.
Nice.
That I thought you would like.
Well, I appreciate that. I am making a list here, so I will tonight after my little one goes down, I'll probably end up spending an hour watching trailers. So
yeah.
All right, next question for you, because I know you're a huge Criterion fan, and I love watching all of your Criterion content. What are 3 great Criterion horror films?
You know, it's funny because when I saw you ask this one, this was probably the hardest one for me to do, believe it or not.
Really?
Because there's a lot of horror thriller. There's a lot of thrillers in there that are good, but they don't necessarily scream horror to me, but in fact they are, but there's just so many that could be classified as thrillers. So I just grabbed the ones that I thought it's kind of a well-rounded pile.
Okay.
And this first one is just because of its undeniable influence. It is not scary at all. Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
It has a beautiful transfer. It's a beautiful release. And this is pretty much what started the whole zombie craze that we're in today. And it's the first of the Deads.
The Walking Dead has that film to thank.
Yeah. Have you seen Night of the Living Dead or no?
No.
No.
I should. Literally everybody. You know, it's one of those films when I watch every Criterion video on YouTube I can find every time the sales come around. And that's one of those films that everyone says, if you're a real Criterion fan, you've got this one in your library already. And I'm like, dang it. I've never even seen this one.
I don't think there's any such thing as a real Criterion fan. I think you have what you like. That's a real Criterion fan. There's another one too. Oh, it's Seven
Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also have never seen that one.
If it's not in your collection, you're not a real collector. Not true. Not true.
So
this next one is a Japanese one. It's a long one. It's 183 minutes because it's several stories put together. It's a bunch of ghost stories from 1965, and I believe it's Kwaidan.
Okay.
Kwaidan. I don't really know how to say it right. I believe it's 4 ghost stories. It's been a little bit since I saw it, but I really, really enjoy this.
Okay.
And I think you would like it.
All right.
So that's a fun one. Now, there's 3 in the collection from Guillermo del Toro. There is Kronos, The Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth. And I felt like I had to pick one, so I just hit in the middle, and I did The Devil's Backbone.
Okay.
And this is obviously in Spanish, and it is a ghost story that takes place at a boys' boarding school. And it's very, very good.
Okay.
And it has beautiful, beautiful cinematography. It is a gorgeous movie on top of being a great story. It's a gorgeous movie. And this and Pan's Labyrinth are probably my 2 favorite movies of his.
Okay.
So I would highly recommend that one. And then there's just 2 more. One just came out, so I haven't even opened it yet. I just got it this week. It's Spine number 226, Anibaba.
Oh, yes.
I think we talked about this.
We did.
With the mask. And this is from 1964. It's 102 minutes in black and white. And it is just, it doesn't scare me, but it's very, very creepy and atmospheric. It's a really good one. It had a DVD release forever, and I was hoping it would get a Blu-ray release. So really excited to revisit that one. And the last one, this is from my childhood. Talk about when it all went wrong. We used to, my friend's older sister had a copy of this, and we used to swipe it and go in her room, go in my friend's room and watch it, and then put it back in the sister's movie pile.
Okay.
And it's a film by David Cronenberg. I didn't pick anything. I have other Cronenberg films, but this was my go-to. It's spine number 777, The Brood.
The Brood.
It's a lot of body horror, psychological thriller type thing, because he loves that body horror, but it's a good one. And this is sad to say, but it has a lot of nostalgia for me.
Okay.
Because this is one of the ones that it's from 1979.
Okay.
And it was one of the first ones that, like, I actually worked to see this one. We spent a lot of time stealing that out of her older sister's room.
That's a great story.
So, yeah. So there's those.
Awesome. Well, I have two more questions for you.
All right.
So this one I did tell you is going to be more rapid fire. We don't have to do it fast, but
random.
I'm just going to give you 13 films. If you haven't seen it, that's totally cool.
Yeah, this is the one that scared me, because I'm like, what if I've only seen one? Yeah, real horror aficionado. Well, you know what? If it is, it is. We'll go with it.
No, I'm pretty sure. As you know me, I'm not that deep into horror. So most people, including small kids, have seen these movies probably. Except for me. Some of them you've already mentioned, actually, in your list. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'll ask you, rate them on a scale of 1 to 5, the level of scariness. So it'll let me know. And you, again, for those of you who are watching, this isn't for those who are super into horror. This is for people like me who are not into horror. So for somebody like me, how would you rate this, a scale of 1 to 5 in scariness?
Okay. How scary you would find it, or someone like you?
Yeah. How much you would rate? Yeah. What you would rate that. Okay. So, all right. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984.
Probably a 3 if it's your first time watching it, because I think it's creepy and it's got gore and it's got some good creepiness to it. I think it's a good one. All right.
This one I have seen. When we originally were talking about this, I hadn't seen it. Halloween. 1978.
As a film, I'm going to rate it a 5 out of 5, but not for scary. For scary, I would say it's like a 2.
Okay.
I don't think it's scary.
No. Don't Breathe, 2016.
Oh, Don't Breathe. That's a great movie. I was shocked by how much I enjoyed that. I would say that's like a 3.5, because there's a lot of tension in it.
Okay.
Not so much gore, but tension.
Tension. Okay.
Anxiety. Yeah.
What about A Quiet Place 2?
A Quiet Place 2, for scary, a 2. But I enjoyed the movie. Okay. Yeah, I didn't find it scary though.
I haven't seen that one yet, so.
I thought the first one was scarier, because we didn't know what we were getting into. And I saw it I saw the second one in the theater. I saw the first one in the theater. I saw the second one at home.
Okay.
So the theater experience of the first one, I think, lent itself to that whole, like, what's coming, and we didn't know what we were getting into, where the second one, we kind of know the story.
True.
We know what we're dealing with, but there's still moments where it's anxiety inducing, but I would say it's more like a 2 as far as I think you'll be fine with it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, because I love the first one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right. Spiral, 2021.
Which Spiral? There's like 4 movies. The one from Jigsaw?
With Chris Rock.
Okay, so the next installment of Jigsaw. I thought the other installments were scarier.
Okay.
I would say like a 2. It's not scary. Yeah, I didn't think it was scary. It didn't freak me out.
No?
No.
All right. So this is my first horror film ever.
Okay.
I saw it as an elementary age student, and it scared me to death. Pet Sematary, 1989.
Yeah, that's scary. I would give that like a 3 or 3.5, 4.
All right.
That's a scary one. That's a lot for, when you told me that was your first one, I was like, no wonder you don't like horror. That kid alone.
Yeah, it's super terrifying.
And then the cat. I mean, it's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the remake, not so much. But
Okay.
I think that's one of the scarier Stephen King films.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's up there.
The Invisible Man, 2020.
The Invisible Man, okay, with the one from The Handmaid's Tale, Elizabeth
Yes.
Moss. That was not scary at all. One
Okay.
and a half, two.
One. All right. Now, I've heard it's a great film.
I enjoyed it. I know people either love it or hate it.
Okay.
I thought it was good. It held my attention.
All right.
I would watch it.
Now, I love the Universal Monsters, Invisible Man. Is
Yes,
there
yes.
any connection at all to that film? It's not even
Not
in
in
the
my
ballpark. Okay.
not in my opinion.
All
I
right.
mean, no, it's a new take.
All right.
But I think you'll like it.
I do need to see it.
Yeah.
How about It, 2017?
I'll give that a 3. That was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one. I would say it's like a 3.
All right.
The clowns, it's scary when they go down in the sewers.
I saw a picture. Somebody posted it somewhere, some social media. They said their neighbor does it every year. They have the exact sewers right in front of their house.
Oh, wow.
And they put the mask of the clown in it with a balloon coming out
That's
of it.
great.
It's so creepy and so good.
Yeah, it's definitely creepy. I mean, like I've told you before, I don't scare easily.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of thinking like along the lines of, is it effective?
Okay.
Like, I think it's effectively, enjoyably scary. It's scary enough.
Okay.
Like Kelly was pretty scared. We saw that in the theaters.
Oh, really?
She liked it, but she did like it. So I would say, yes, give it a go.
All right. You've already mentioned this one, The Exorcist, 1973.
Oh, 5.
5.
That terrifies me. It's terrifying.
Okay.
To this day, I think it's terrifying. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, oof.
No. I don't think
It's
I
all
will.
practical effects. It's amazing. It is such and there's a documentary about it called Leap of Faith, where they talk to the directors and people involved with the films. It's an amazing documentary.
Okay.
Really good. So I would say, yeah, that's a 4 or a 5.
4 or 5.
That scares the life out of me. Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
Oh, like a 1.5, 2.
Oh, really?
It's funny.
Okay.
I think it's funny. It didn't scare me. It is funny. I think you'll laugh. I almost pulled that as a horror comedy, but I figured people would get mad at me because
Really?
I think it's funny, but you thought Halloween was funny.
I did find it very funny.
If you think Halloween is funny, you will die laughing at the original Texas Chainsaw.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, there's a remake from, I believe, 2003. That scared me.
Okay.
That got under my skin a little bit. Not like The Exorcist, but that one is scary. That's got a lot of tension. But the original, it's a good movie. It's an important movie for the horror genre, but it didn't scare me.
All right. Rosemary's Baby, 1968.
Scary. Like, again, like a 2. Creepy.
Okay.
Creepy.
Now, this
Good movie.
I've heard everyone says it's great. And is it out of print in Criterion now?
It is.
Okay.
It'll land somewhere, though. Somebody will pick up the rights to it.
Sure. Now, this one is one that I don't know if you've seen or not. And I think it's a Criterion. The Phantom Carriage.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
1921?
Yeah, not scary.
Not scary.
No.
Okay.
Maybe 1.
Okay.
It's creepy.
Okay.
But it's good. It's worth watching it's a silent film and you can pick the score that you listen to while you're watching it. Yeah, it's
That's
cool. It's
cool.
well done. Yeah, it's
Wow.
a cool film. I would say watch it. It's not scary though, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good film, good story.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, you've already mentioned it, Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Again, not scary, but really great, important film. I would give it a 2 as far as, 1.5, 2. Not scary.
All right. That's
now
it.
you know.
Those are the 13.
There you go. We did it.
And I think my last question I throw to you is, what are you most excited about watching in October? I think that's what I asked.
Yes, you did ask. I'm going to run through these quick. Hopefully This is the one I pulled for you. And the reason I'm so excited about seeing it is because it is a brand new restoration from 1923. It's not that scary, but it stars Lon Chaney in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
Kino just put it out. And I believe it has a new 4K. Yes, it has a new 4K restoration. And it's from, the 1923, so it's silent. But I'm saving this for, around Halloween time. I thought it would be fun. I love Lon Chaney, so looking forward to that one. Another one, this is from the writers of The Quiet Place. It is called Haunt.
I have not heard
Love this movie. Don't know how much you would like it, but I love it. And it's about a group of kids who go into there's these things called haunts that are like, they pop up like scary, like Funhouse type of thing. And they just pop up during the Halloween season. It's by a college, and these kids go there and they want to walk through the haunt, and there's some bad people inside, but it's a lot of fun. And here's their masks, the people inside.
Jeez.
You can see them. Yeah, they're fun. They're a good group. This is another fun one, Trick or Treat. It's a Halloween anthology.
Okay.
This is a lot of fun. I think you would like it. It's kind of got dark comedy undertones to it.
Okay.
And it's an anthology. There's a bunch of stories that are all kind of linked together.
I'm seeing tons of people on Instagram with that doll.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
He's got a razor blade in his lolly, in his either his lolly or his candy bar.
Okay.
This is fun though. I watch it every October. Another one is called, this one was just first time to Blu-ray. It was put out by Vinegar Syndrome. I had the DVD for years, watched it every year. It's the WNUF Halloween special. And it's from 2013, but they make it like it was a broadcast television show from 1987.
Oh, really?
Complete with the commercials and the bad advertising and everything that you would expect to see in 1987. And they come upon this house, and supposedly there's paranormal activity going on in it. So they see like an exorcism going on or a seance going on. It's just a lot of fun. Okay. And it's one that's fun to watch on Halloween or around Halloween. Okay. So I've never seen it on Blu-ray because it was just released. One more. I have two more. This is probably my favorite vampire film of all time, 30 Days of Night. I have seen that one. You've seen this? I have seen that one. Did you like it? They're on the tops of buildings, right? It's in like the Arctic? Yes. It's in Alaska where it's dark for 30 days. Yes, I have seen that. And you were okay with this? I think so. It's been a while. This is a great movie. Okay. Oh, you're tougher than you think. I thought these were some of the scariest vampires I've ever seen, with the way they talked, and they had the big, like, here's the one guy in the back. Yeah, they're gross. The teeth. Yeah, they're gross, and they're freaky scary, and the way they have their own language. And I'll tell you, for vampire movies, I don't watch a lot. Daybreakers. Yeah. I thought was amazing. Like it was more of like social commentary. It was so good. Yeah. See, you're more horror than you think. Actually, I have two more. I'm sorry. This one is, I love this one. It's from the Saska sisters, and it is American Mary. Okay. And I actually have it autographed from this. Wow. I met them at a horror convention, and they were amazing, fan-friendly, awesome ladies. And it's about a gal who's in medical school, and she becomes disenchanted with medical school, and she decides to go into private practice of body modification. Gosh. And she's not a happy girl, and that's all I'm going to say, but it is really, really good. And they said their goal with this was female empowerment. Oh, really? I think they hit the mark. Okay. And this last one, I have held on to this for months because I wanted to watch it in October. I've seen the movie before, but this is the brand new 4K restoration of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Okay. Again, not scary, but it's a fun time, and I really want to experience the 4K. I've seen the movie many, many times, but I really wanted to see the 4K, and I saved it for Halloween. Nice. So I didn't get the super duper giant $100 set. This is just the movies. Okay. So, and this is another one that would be considered more like important. Yeah. Because it's part of his, his Dead series, like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Dead. But yeah, no, but it's a fun one.
Very cool.
And it was a big deal that they got the rights to the movie to make the 4K restoration happen. It was a huge release.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, they did this mega box set with soundtracks and hardcover books. It was
Wow.
gorgeous. I couldn't spend $100 on one movie. I wouldn't take advantage of all that they offered.
Sure.
But for someone who's a super fan of the movie, it was like you couldn't ask for any more. It was a beautiful, beautiful release. So, but I was very happy when they just released like the 3 different or 4 different cuts of the movie, and they're on 4K. So I'm excited to watch it.
Nice.
So that's that. That's our first Horror 101. I hope I picked out some things that at least maybe you'll, maybe check out or investigate.
Well, I have, let me see here. There's got to be at least 15, 16 titles that I put down here that I'll definitely be watching trailers on.
Cool.
Later. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully anybody who's watching, if you're not really into horror, and we're finding out secretly that John is a closet horror fan because he's seen 30 Days a Night. I think there's a little something going on that you haven't told me. That's a great film.
I remember it being genuinely creepy because I don't like vampires at all.
Really?
Yeah. They weird me out. Like, so out of the Universal horror films, I don't own Dracula because I do not like them. They weird me out so much. And
I read somewhere, and this could be totally like not valid information anymore, but I read something like Dracula has spawned more material, like offshoots of the original Dracula, than any of them.
Really?
As far as like Dracula films, vampire film, like
sure.
that had the most influence of all the Universal monsters. Like how many Frankenstein films you really see, like especially modern day.
Yeah.
Like there's some Hammer films and things like that, but not a lot of modern day Frankenstein or The Mummy.
Right.
There's some great classics out there.
And I know they redid the Wolfman a couple of years ago, and I saw that, and I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the vampire stuff creeps me out. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you watch What We Do in the Shadows, you'll be laughing every time you see a vampire.
Okay. I think when those movies come out that just mock horror films, I think those do make it easier to watch horror films. Because when they exploit all those tropes and then you actually put them in a real horror film, it does make it funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So yeah, those are my first picks, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna run with it. We're gonna get into subgenres and all that stuff. It's gonna be fun.
And all of that will go completely over my head.
It'll be John's Horrorcation.
Now, what's the converse of this? Because you talked about doing where I'm recommending movies to you.
Yeah, you have to help me find a soul.
So
you have a lot of heart, and you have a lot. You're I feel like you're very much an open channel. You want to feel everything.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful quality that you have. And I think sometimes I can be a little detached.
Okay.
So I would like to be more open.
Okay.
And I think that there are films that can bring that out. And I think that sometimes I push those off to the side, like, it's cheesy, or, like I'll watch it, but I think I need to expand my horizons a little bit, because I don't think I'm as open to feeling the full range of emotions.
Okay.
So
I would say the older I get, the worse it gets. Like I cry at the drop of a hat, and it's hilarious because it's my dad. Like, so I see it in my dad, and now I see it in me, but it's even like, I hate hockey. Like, I just think I'm a Canadian too. So I should, that's why I left the country. It's because I just don't like it. But if I'm like flipping through the channels, I don't even know any of the players. The Stanley Cup does not matter to me. If I see like the last 3 minutes of the game, they win, they're all cheering, their kids come out of the crowd. I'm just like a complete mess, because I'm just like seeing them playing on the ice as a little Canadian kid somewhere north. And all of that just like floods into my brain, and then I'm just a mess. So it's good and it's bad. So my wife teases me about it, and she's like, we'll watch something. She's like, "Are you crying again?" And so I'll tell her she's dead inside,
Yeah.
and she's a monster.
Yeah.
But,
See, I'm pretty much a dead monster too. Like Kelly's crying every time we watch something. I'm like, "Are you crying?" I hear sniffling. I'm like, "Are you crying?" And she's like, "How can you not cry?" I'm like, "Because I'm not. I don't know. I don't feel any of this stuff. I don't. But I grew up like that. Like my family's not super emotional. We're not affectionate.
Okay.
We're, you know, like that's just. And I maybe I'm missing something. So you're gonna recommend some feel it films for me.
I will. That would be a very fun one. Have you
Yeah.
seen the movie Our Friend?
Yeah. Yep.
Did that not get you?
No.
Oh my goodness. I
No,
watched
I mean,
that.
I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was
Sure.
really well done. I thought it was a beautiful story. But my answer to that is that's life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's where the disconnect is.
Gotcha.
Like I want to feel what they want you to feel,
Uh-huh.
but something in me is missing.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that maybe 2 weeks ago. I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning. This happens to me all the time. I can't sleep.
Right.
And so I had it downloaded onto my phone. So I just rolled over and I'm watching it in bed with my wife there. And twice I had to go to the bathroom because snot was all over my face and tears. And I'm like shaking and quivering. And for probably 60% of the movie, 65% of the movie, I'm just sobbing my eyes out.
Wow.
And I had to get up because I was just gross. I was so disgusting.
Oh,
And
wow.
the same thing happened. Did you see the movie Wonder?
Yep.
So that one, everybody told me, they're like, you're going to bawl your eyes out. And I was like, I took it as a challenge. Like, I'm not going to cry.
Right.
Maybe as soon as she gives birth to the kid, I started crying. And because I'm feeling all of their dreams, everything that they came into this moment with, and now their fears, and the dad trying to be strength for his wife, and I cried till probably 10 minutes after it was over.
Wow.
I was in my bathroom, and which to me it's funny because like 15 years ago, I would have laughed my head off at somebody like me because I wouldn't have felt this. The older I get, it is just anyway.
Wow. Well, you're going to bring out my humanity then.
So it'll be fun. But now that's a challenge. If Our Friend, so Wonder, was that emotional at all?
I felt bad for the little guy. I did. I felt terrible because I think the people are just cruel.
Oh gosh, it was.
And I thought his family was great, and I guess part of it could be because I don't have that parenting thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, but like I know, like when my dogs have passed, I thought I would never stop crying.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the only thing that's ever really gotten me like that. So I can feel, but like I think maybe because I'm not a parent and I never really had an adult relationship until maybe 7 years ago.
Gotcha.
I was always single. I was doing my thing. I lived alone. I don't have a lot of connection.
Gotcha.
Very much an introvert. But my dogs they're my kids. So if I see a dog movie like Marley and Me.
I was going to say, you mentioned that before.
I'm wrecked.
And you said that's a one-time watch for you. Is that right?
I'm wrecked.
Yeah.
Wrecked. Yeah, wrecked. I've watched it once. I have it. I don't know if I can watch it again, but I was wrecked.
Gotcha.
So I think a lot of it may have to do with life experience or lack thereof.
Or it's just different. Because I don't have, so I wanted a dog. As a kid, I wanted a golden retriever. I described it to a T to my parents, what I wanted. Never got it. And so I have a disconnect with dogs completely.
Right.
They allowed us to have cats. So I just love cats. I'm deathly allergic. When halfway through high school, something happened where I just became brutally allergic to animals in general.
Right.
And my cat used to sleep on my head. Like it was all over me all the time, but I'm super allergic now. But I think it's because of the hurt of, I wanted a dog so bad as a kid and it just didn't happen. So
every time I get a new one, I say, look, my next little heartbreak.
Well, that's true. Like I had this little cat. Well, it wasn't even ours. Where we lived in New York, I came home from work like 11 one night, and my window was down. It's dark. I lived in the woods,
Uh-huh.
and I pulled into the driveway. It's behind this house, and this animal just jumped through my window, and it just freaked me out because I had no idea what jumped in my car, and it
Wow.
was a cat, and it was just like barn cat from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it started. I when I realized it was a cat, I pet it. I loved it. And it started coming underneath my window of our apartment and just meowing all the time. So I'd let it in. It would sleep
Mm-hmm.
on my feet while I ate. While I was watching basketball, it would just be under my chin, and it would just
Mm-hmm.
want to get as close to me as possible. Anyway, that happened for months, and then I didn't see it for like 5 or 6 days.
Oh boy.
And my neighbor, I saw it outside with my neighbor, and I went over to their place, and she's like, "It's been in our house for 5 days. It got hit by a car. Its back legs." Anyway, she goes, "It hasn't eaten in 5 days." As soon as it saw me, it jumped off of the chair and was like dragging itself toward me. And I'm
Oh,
just like sobbing. And she's like, "It hasn't moved in 5 days. And
wow.
eaten." And I had all these foods that I knew it loved. So I went down to my apartment, grabbed all the food that I know, and he ate like crazy. Anyway, they
Wow.
took him to the vet. They had to put him down that day. Um, but I was like destroyed for the rest of the day. Like,
Yeah.
so I totally get what you're saying. Like you can, because there is just something like I would say spiritual about that connection you have even with your cat or your dog. Like
It's
it's a
pure.
really absolutely pure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. There's no like
They
emotional
have,
manipulation to get out of you anything.
yeah, they have no
Just pure
agenda.
love.
Yep.
That's a great word. Pure love.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
agenda.
They have no agenda. And as much as they may need you, I had a special needs dog who couldn't even go to the bathroom. Like I had to express her bladder manually for
Really?
10 years because
Wow.
she had disc disease and she lost use of her back leg. So I got her a wheelchair and we did physical therapy, and
Wow.
she was my baby, and she lived for 16 and a half years. And the vet was like, "You kept her alive." But I never kept her alive for me.
Right.
She was happy and healthy. She just needed help. She
Gotcha.
couldn't go down the stairs. I could put her in the yard in her wheelchair and she'd take off. She couldn't void her bladder and whatnot, so I would do it for her.
Wow.
She was like my love. And so when she went, I was just shattered. But she never needed anything from me but like to get her something. Like she would come, I'd be working at my desk and I'd feel the little paw on my ankle. She would just paw my ankle and I'd be like, "What?" And she'd spin around and she'd scoot and I'd follow her and she'd want something from the counter. And
Really?
but they're pure. They just have no agenda. They love you unconditionally. You could come home in the worst mood and they are going to act exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they're just loves.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
wouldn't trade them
why.
for the world.
So that makes sense with a documentary you mentioned in the five that you mentioned about those people who just care, take in as many dogs as possible
Oh my
and care for
God.
them.
Yep. Yeah, I would film. It's funny because now I look at the four of them lined up on the fence because we're back to four.
Yeah.
And we have baby Pickle now who she's almost, I'm like, "When did you turn into a dog?" She's like medium Pickle now. And I see them and I'm like, that is four happy butts when I see them looking out the fence and I just see wagging. I'm like, look at those happy butts. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world,
Yeah. I will
no
tell
matter
you,
what they do.
I watched in that when you did with Cinema Dave the other day. So out of all the girls you have, the dogs you have, I would say I didn't know this about the one of them. And now I have to say, if I had to pick a favorite, that might be it. The one that has the giant paws.
Pima.
I was like, you know what? That is super cute.
She's got gigantic paws, and she actually, she was 2 ounces at birth.
Are you serious?
She
Wow.
was like the weight of a goldfish.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, they're teeny tiny when they're born anyway, but they didn't, this has to do with her name. They didn't think she was going to make it. And what happened is the mother kept trying to smother her. So the breeder took her away because she said she was strong. She was just little and she couldn't get in to feed. So she took her and she bottle fed her, and she's like, I said, "I'll give her 2 weeks and we'll see if she makes it." And she's like, she goes, "This dog fought for everything." And
Wow.
she's like, "I've never seen a dog with a bigger heart and a bigger will to live." And that's what her name means. It's Pema, and it is a Buddhist name for heart.
Wow. That's really cool.
And that's how we came up with her name, because She has got the biggest heart of any dog you'll ever meet. And she is just always happy to see you. She'll sit on your lap. She'll love on you. She loves everybody. We always say she's our girl that if we need to double up anyone, she gets along with everyone.
Really?
Always has. When I brought her into the house, I had a 16-year-old male who was blind and deaf and cranky, and nobody could go near him. She could sit on him and fall asleep, and he'd be fine.
Really?
Everybody loves Pima.
That's neat.
Everybody loves her, but she came to us with anxiety and an eating disorder. We had to hand feed her. She was a lot of work, but she's worth it.
That's really neat.
And she's a cute little thing, and she loves to play. But she's got these giant lion paws.
I love that so much when you mentioned that. So
I'll have to send you a picture of when I trim her paws. They look like boots.
Okay.
Because I trim her paws. I trim all their paws so they don't look like the Grinch feet.
Oh, yeah.
And I make them nice. Like I use a scissors and a razor, and they look like paws. But I always laugh because hers are so big. I'll send you a picture. You'll love it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, big paws.
That's good. Well, I grew up with I have just giant hands. And so I grew up, feeling a little freakish. It worked out great because I played basketball.
Right.
But when you pointed that out the other day with her, I was like, oh, that's a great thing.
It's so funny because when we agreed to take her and we went to pick her up, we drove 4 hours each way to get her. And the breeder said to us, and I said, she's got big paws. And she's like, she's not going to get much over 8 pounds. She goes, maybe 9 pounds. And she hovers between 8 and 9 pounds. She was right.
Really? Okay.
Because the other girls are more like between 10 and 12 pounds.
Okay.
So she's significantly smaller.
Wow.
But she can hold her own.
That's awesome.
Like, she's so funny. She just hops. She hops everywhere, and she runs and she hops. She's like a squirrel when you try and get her.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's her now.
Okay.
Hi, John.
Well, I have kindred spirit then if we both have giant hands. So
yes, Pima and John.
Well, that's awesome. Well, then maybe I'll have to look for more animal films.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
You can help me with that.
Well, Stephanie, this was super fun. I really appreciate you taking the time to pull these titles to help someone like myself who is, not as horror inclined.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. Your new horizon awaits you.
It is. It does. Well, I watched horror, Halloween, so that's a huge thing. Carrie, I haven't seen yet, but I got Michael Myers covered. So yeah, you'll like Carrie. Carrie's cool, and you'll understand the emoji I sent you when you watch it. Well, I'm not going to ruin that for you. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Stephanie. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, always. And thank you for having me, John, as always. Cool. Well, we'll do this again. Okay. All right. Thanks. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, friends, thank you so much for watching this, Horror 101 with Stephanie from Movie Chatter. I learned a lot in this video, and I have some films I need to go now and check out. So I hope maybe you've got a list of some films that you might want to check out if you're brand new to horror. If you are super into horror and you watch this whole video, congratulations. Well done. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what you think about where I should start when it comes to watching horror films. Friends, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. If you liked it, please do hit like if you want to. And if you want to subscribe for more of this kind of content, feel free to hit subscribe as well. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next time.